In this video, I just want to briefly talk about the two equations we've been working with so far, right? Remember, slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b, and standard form is ax plus by equals c. Now, they're both useful and they both have their uh, key characteristics, right? For mx plus b, the reason why that one's so nice is because it straight up tells you what the slope and the y-intercept is, right? It makes it very easy if you're trying to graph. So if a question is wanting to know slope or the y-intercept, then this format's the easiest. But if they ask you like, okay, where the x-intercept is and where the y-intercept is, standard form is probably better because this one tells you x and y-intercepts. So they both have their uses. And sometimes it's going to be beneficial to be able to go from one format to the other or vice versa. Being able to change between those formats is very important. Okay, so that's what I want to go over in this video is how do you take equation that's in one format and change it into the other format? Okay, so in the first example, we're going to start off with a standard form equation. And the directions are going to be change the equation to be in slope-intercept form. Okay, so in other words, they want to know what the y equals mx plus b form is. And the equation they'll give you is 11x minus 6y equals negative 48. And it's not too difficult to do it. Essentially, all you got to do is rearrange the equation and get the pieces in the correct spot, right? Remember, slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. So the x term and all the numbers have to be on the right-hand side. So looking at this equation, I want to keep the y value. So I'm trying to keep this piece here, but I want to move everything else to the right. Okay, so just like you would do if you were solving an equation, you can move things around by doing opposites. So if you wanted to get rid of that entire 11x, what we could do is because it's positive, we could subtract 11x. But again, if you're moving it from one side to the other side, whatever you do, you have to match it up. So if I'm going to subtract 11x on the left, you have to then subtract 11x on the right. But notice I did not line it up with that 48 because x's and numbers don't go together. I can't combine negative 11x and negative 48. They're not like terms. That's why I didn't line them up. Okay? When you simplify this, you still have negative 6y, and we want the x term first, right? mx plus b. The x term goes first. So let's put the negative 11x first, and then the negative 48 afterwards. Now we're almost there, right? We just have to take care of that negative 6 piece. And we've done this in previous videos before, right? If you want to keep the y but get rid of that negative 6, it's attached. So to get rid of it, we would divide. Okay? Whatever you divide here, you have to divide everywhere. So you have to divide this by negative 6 and this by negative 6. Okay, that's usually the mistake that I see is students don't divide the entire equation. Okay, what that does is the 6's cancel, the negatives cancel, and now we have y by itself, which is what we wanted, right? We want y equals mx plus b. On the right-hand side, 11 divided by 6 does not work out nicely, okay? But these negatives do cancel each other out. So it becomes positive 11 over 6x. And then for the numbers, negative 48 divided by negative 6, those negatives cancel each other out. And we get positive, this one works out nicely, we get positive 8. Then they could just go and ask you, now that it's in this format, now you could easily say, well, now I know that m is equal to 11 over 6, and I know b is equal to 8, just by looking at it. So that's the advantage of changing from standard form to slope-intercept form, is you can clearly see what the slope is and what the y-intercept is just by seeing it. Okay. All right, let's do one more of these together, and then I do want you guys to try one on your own before we close out this video. So same style of question. I want to give you in standard form, and I want you to be able to give it in slope-intercept form. So change to slope-intercept. And the equation is negative 4x plus 6y equals 10. Okay. If you want to try it on your own, go ahead and pause the video and try it, and then press play when you're ready to check your answer. All right, so again, we want to keep that y value by itself and move everything else. Okay, so let's start by moving that x term. It's a negative 4x. So unlike the previous question, we're going to add it to move it to the other side. So negative 4x, to move it, we're going to add 4x. Again, whatever you do to one side, do to the other. But again, there's no other x terms over here, so make it kind of stand out on its own. Leftovers. We still have 6y. Okay. The x term we want to go first, so let's put that positive 4x in front. And then it's a positive 10, so we'll put plus 10. And last step, get rid of that 6 by dividing, just like last time. 6's cancel. Okay, we have y by itself. Now, if you on the right side, none of those fractions work out nicely. They don't divide out nicely, but they do reduce. So if they can reduce, you have to. So 4 over 6, it does reduce to 2 over 3. And then 10 over 6 also reduces to 5 over 3. And then again, if it's in this format, you could easily go and say, well, now we know m is 2/3, and we know b is 5/3. Which, if you were actually graphing this, I would recommend changing b to be a decimal. You can use a calculator. If you take 5 divided by 3, ends up being 1.67. The reason why I'm doing that is because, remember, b is your starting point. So graphing 5/3 is very challenging. It's hard to visualize. But graphing 1.67, we know about where that is. It's a little more than halfway between 1 and 2. So if it was a graphing question, you can always change to a decimal to help you out. But for m, we like being a fraction, so that's not a problem there. All right, so hopefully this isn't too bad. Hopefully it's just the next step in what we've been doing. I want you to try one last one completely on your own. Same thing, I want you to change it to slope-intercept form. Okay, so change to slope-intercept. All right, and then give you 2x minus 3y equals negative 6. Okay, now this one I do want you to try it on your own. So make sure you guys pause the video, try it out. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and then press play when you want to check your answer.